What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley. I told y'all I was going to be back. If you didn't catch my show earlier, me, Mr. Sean Taylor, and the lovely Miss Gisella talked about the soulmate myth. So go check that show out. We were straight clowning in there, man. We straight clowning there. But we're going to talk some sports today, and I got my brother, Mr. Reid, with me. How you feeling today, sir?
Doing good, man. It's Friday.
Friday. It is Friday, man. So we are going to get into it. We're not gonna do the long stream like we do, man. We done hit 3 hours. We done hit 3:15 sometimes. But we're gonna try to keep it short and sweet today. We got other things to do. But man, so we're gonna dive straight into it and start today's show talking about Mr. Otis Anderson Jr., a young man from Jacksonville who was killed by his father a couple days back. And I was my boss at my job. He's former JSO, and so he knows the story and what happened and what went on. He was telling me about it, and from what he's heard, and it's just the situation is sad, man. It's very sad. I couldn't imagine being a father and killing my own son and then shooting my wife. That's crazy to me, man. But from the outpour, just look at the community and the outpour of gratitude and condolences and people who were around this young man. He was loved. That's what I've gathered from this last week. This kid was a light to this world, and people really, really love this kid.
Yeah, and you're right, Brandon. Even he spent a short time with the Rams. He was on their practice squad, and he basically was on their team throughout training camp. But to hear McVay talk about him, kid with a big smile, eagerness just to show what he can do, wanted to be an NFL player, and they saw enough of him to bring him back and put him on the practice squad. You look on social media, he had enough of an impact that those guys, like Jalen Ramsey reacted on their social media channels, and it's just sad, man. You can't make it sound better or make it sound. It is what it is. It's a sad story. It definitely shouldn't have happened, and for a father to pull the trigger and kill his own son and kill, not kill his wife, but shoot at his wife and graze with a bullet. And I always think about things like this, man, on just, we can everybody loses their temper. Sometimes I always look at, well, what was the cause of this issue? What made a father lose control, Yeah. And a lot of times, man, we have a problem that we don't handle. We don't handle the issue when it happened right there at that moment. We get in a situation, man, you can look back 24, 48 hours from the moment that everything exploded, and you go and you look 48 hours later, and I don't care who he is, father, son, daughter, uncle, you around there shaking your head like, man, I can't believe I got that mad, Yeah. And this, the whole circumstance was about a dog. A dog, I think,
bit the father.
Bit the father.
His girlfriend's dog.
Yes.
That he was watching. They said bit the father, and they got into it about the dog. The mom came downstairs, defused the situation. He went upstairs. The son went upstairs. Otis went upstairs. Otis Jr. went upstairs. He heard his mom and dad arguing. His dad supposedly flipped the recliner over. He came back downstairs and got into a tussling match with his dad. Dad left, went to the garage, they said, got the gun, came back, and, that's what happened.
Man, that just reminds me of Marvin Gaye, man, have been one of the best singers of our lifetime.
Yeah.
And a similar circumstance happened to him,
Yeah.
But just sad, man. For a kid that, he was 23 years old.
23.
Take his life too soon, and as you said, he touched a lot of people, everywhere he was at, all the outpouring, UCF, man, it's like a lot of emotions, that you can see from the outside looking in of people that he touched and just the outpouring of sympathy and things like that they're expressing on Twitter and social media. Yeah. And this kid, I mean, he was special, man. I mean, he was at University Christian and they won 2 state championships. But a good guy. He seems to be a good guy, and and that exceeds what he did on the football field. It just seemed like he touched a whole lot of people. He must. I didn't know the young man, but it just seemed like he must have had a great personality, loved life.
Yeah.
And to go from University Christian to UCF and make it to the NFL and he was on the Rams roster in September.
Yeah, he was.
Not long ago. And just to see it all taken away for basically a disagreement is just the saddest thing that you can, it's just sad, man. And just, I hate to see a young black man particularly get shot by his father and just, just something that they could patch up in the next day, of somebody be man enough to walk away and take a drive around the block and come back and get level-headed and apologize, or it ain't this bad or something, man. But I don't know, man. It's just a sad situation,
Yeah, I think one thing we don't talk about enough, especially within our community, and this is no excuse for what the man did, but mental illness. Yeah. Something was going on. I'm sure he displayed behaviors and patterns of behavior before that day. He didn't wake up and was a upstanding guy and then wake up and do this. This was something. It was a build up to this point. Mm-hmm. So that lets me know that their relationship wasn't a great relationship if he did this. Yeah. They probably had a rocky relationship. Don't know how close they were, but this stuff like this should never happen. It should never happen. You should never especially men. As soon as you get those thoughts in your head, you need to flight. That fight or flight. You need to get out of there. You need to leave, because nothing good is going to come after you have those thoughts.
And another thing, I was talking to my wife about this situation. And, sometimes I don't know if it was this situation, but sometimes fathers be jealous of their children's success. I mean, mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that was a situation with this, mm-hmm. but sometimes it happens, man. It happens where, he might have had a stronger relationship with the mother, and he's doing this and that, and the daddy feel less of a provider. So it's a whole. I mean, I used to hear all kind of stories from those NBA guys when I covered them. When that instant money comes, they had mm-hmm. uncles that they ain't seen in 30 years just pop out of nowhere. And then when the situation get to the point where they gave and gave and gave and don't give anymore, then it's an upset. It's like mm-hmm. easy to get into a confrontation, and then it's always like, man, you turning your back on your family, and I just, it's just bad. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how much life changes for some of these athletes. I know that a lot of people feel in life that they privileged. They go out on the practice field and only have to work like 2 hours a day, and they get all this truckload of money. But their lives changed. I mean, can you imagine growing up with someone your whole life? You guys been friends since elementary school, and once he hit the jackpot, everything changes. I mean, we had a conversation about this like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
With
what's up, Julia?
With Dawkins, where mm-hmm. his wife kind of told him that he didn't get it. But his wife had to convince him that, man, you're not the same. You're different. Mm-hmm. You can't hang out with your boys that you hung out when you was at Reigns. It's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. It's different. So, see, Julia Stewart, she says the human mind is weak. This is what happens when God is pushed out of everything. People think that they can do everything on their own. People are so easy to jump to a defense. Yeah, yeah. And this when it comes to knowing your weaknesses, and knowing your strengths. You gotta know. Say hello, cuz you're doing awesome job. So proud of you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. I'm gonna keep grinding, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna make y'all proud. I gotta shine. But she's right. When you push God out of everything and you think you can handle things on your own, everybody needs help. Everybody needs some type of assistance at some point. You didn't get it on, I did it on my own. I'm out. No, you had help from someone, and you need help from someone. And that's one thing about men, and you know this, men rarely reach out for help when they're drowning.
We
and because they mostly think nobody cares, and for the most part, some people don't care, but that shouldn't stop you from reaching out, because somebody's going to be willing to talk, because people say it all the time. I'd rather listen to your problems and hear you talk than to find out that you did something to yourself instead of me listening to you get whatever it is off your chest.
Yeah. And I know, like, we be going back, especially me. I'm an older guy. We go back to the past. I say two things, what you just said. Number one is society has changed so much that, and just what she said, a lot of times, I can remember 20 years ago, everybody would be at church.
Yeah. Everybody.
And now we live in a society where, other than a female, I mean, it's just like a lot of males don't go to church.
Yeah. Men have been leaving the church for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing is just so much pride, and that they, even if you got issues on the job, you got issues with family members, and we all let it stay in.
Yeah.
It all stays inside. And then when it goes from 1 to 10, then it just explodes.
Yeah. It explodes. Man.
And we got to learn how to not let it get to 10. We got to start talking when it get to 2,
Yeah.
Because if it keep building and building and building, then you're not going to be able to handle your rage, But I tell you, Brent, I just hate to see something that I feel could have been preventable, something that I feel that, that one of the worst things I think can happen is you bring a life in the world, and then you, the person who take a life away.
Yeah, you take that life away that you brought in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It's just tough.
Yeah. Say Julie, say that's right, unless there are the pastor and 2 deacons. Yeah, those are the men that are in the church, Julia, for sure.
Yeah, we watch too much of football. When I was in New Orleans, they used to have so nobody wouldn't miss the games. So they have a 7 a.m. service.
Oh yeah. They gotta account for football, man. They do. Even the pastors. You have pastors now. Hey, they like, hey, okay, we're gonna get out of here because he gonna watch football too. So yeah, it's the same. But man, rest in peace, rest in power to Otis Anderson Jr. Condolences to his mother and whatever his dad is dealing with. I mean, I just hope he gets some help. He's gonna go away for a long time, but I hope he gets the help. And realize, like, knowing that's not who I am. I had a weak moment. It's something I went through. And I got to pay for whatever I got to pay for these things. So it's like you say, it's an unfortunate situation. But so we're gonna put a pin in that and go to the my next topic is not it's similar to this, but different circumstances. Young man by the name of Tate Meyer. He was in the shooting at Oxford, I think it's Oxford, Michigan, at the high school. Tate Meyer was a football player. He's 16 years old. He played running back and he played linebacker. And when the shooting occurred, they say he rushed the shooter to save some classmates. and died. He got shot. And dude, I was like, I couldn't imagine what his parents are going through right now. I couldn't imagine what they're going through. And I'll say this: I say, and I've said this before, if I have a son, that's not your job. I need you home. Come on, go hide, run, help some people if you can. But no, I need you alive. That's not your job to save the lives of other people. Now, if he did it, and it is what it is, but if I'm going to teach him, I need you here. Don't do that, because yes, he helps him. He helps some classmates. They're alive today, but now my boy is just a memory, and I can't handle that.
I just feel that these school shootings is just tough. I think that this Second Amendment and all this about having your own arms and all that, man. I think something got to be done about these assault rifles and whatever else going on. I just, I know in that Constitution it's got a right to bear arms, but man, I mean, you don't need a weapon that's just tearing people up to pieces. I mean, that's my thought on that. And it's just so,
I never understood that.
Me, then I just, somebody just, this kid 15 years old, just randomly shooting people for, probably don't even know some of the people he shot, but just shot them. And, I don't know. It's just nonstop. It looks like this stuff happens like every other year, every 2 years, and nobody have the answers. Everybody, it's like once these shootings happen, it's like this conversation that started going that we need to, have laws in place to stop making it so easy for people to acquire guns and things. And then once it's simmered down, it goes right back. It's quiet, and then another school shooting, and then we're back in the same conversation with no action.
Yeah,
it's just like a repeated cycle.
48 school shootings so far this year. Total mass shootings. If you look it up, it's depressing. It's a depressing stat. I'm just letting you know before you look it up. The total number of mass shootings in 2021. It's in the 150s, and that's crazy. Absolutely insane. Yeah. They say, hold on, I didn't see our comments. Say, first of all, men need to stop trying to take the easy way out, stand up and take responsibility for their family. The order of life is messed up. Women are in the man's role, and the men are sitting back doing nothing. But not all men, of course. Yeah, we know what men you're talking about. We know. Yeah. Hey, that's the difference between men and women is with men, you don't necessarily have to qualify with, well, not all men do that. Men know that, but women, they be like, well, not all women. We know it's not all women. But she's correct, man. The order is we're out of order. We've been out of order for a long time.
Brandon, we need to have a 2-hour show on that topic, man, because I got that in my own family. I mean, it's like
out of order,
out of order, and ain't nothing easy in this world. You go work on some jobs and you got to bear with this, you got to deal with that. But man, it's hard being a man and you allowing your lady to do all the work. I mean, come on, man, that's unacceptable.
Come on, dog. It's not a man. It's not a man. Oh, now Julie say we had some Lampley family members that went to that school. Wow, that's that's crazy. That's current. That's current. They go there now. They went there because that's crazy. You say, where's Ernesto? I'm waiting for that 4-touchdown spread last week. hey, Ness was on early on my other show, Kassan. So I don't know where Ness at. Hey, maybe he'll show up. I don't know where he at.
He's calling him out. He's calling
him out, Kassan. Call him out. Call him out. So, man, but I'm rest in peace, rest in power to those two young men, Otis Anderson Jr. and Tate Meyer. I mean, unfortunate, man. That stuff breaks my heart. Those things you don't want to see. 23 and 16 years old. Life hasn't even begun for those boys, man. But hey, it is what it is, man. But your children, your boys and your girls, we're going into a tough time as a people. A lot of people don't see what's coming because they live in their lives and they got a one-track mind. But if you pay attention, we're going into some tough times. And I'm telling my buddy Sean Taylor, I said, now more than ever, parents have a responsibility to instill morals, values, and discipline in their children. Yeah. Just those things alone is going to give that child a head start over other children, because all kids are not getting that right now.
Yeah. And they got also, bro, they got to establish a relationship with your kids, man, because a lot of times your kid don't know what to say because they don't have a relationship with the parents. So the kid, he doesn't release. She doesn't release. So he keeps it inside. And
I'm glad she commented that. I forgot about that. The parents got charged. You saw that?
About the gun?
Yeah. I read that. She sent me the video, and I read some stories about it. So apparently they're on the run. The parents are on the run.
On the run. Oh Lord.
Last time I checked, they said they're searching for them. I don't know if they found them, and I don't know if they're on the run. But if they're searching for them, they most likely must be on the run now.
But I purchased the gun like a week ago. You know.
No, they said I thought they got it for him for Christmas. They said.
Well,
was it Christmas last year? Well, it may have been a week ago, but they showed the text messages between him and his mom. And they called them to the school about him having these crude drawings about killing people and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, they should be charged.
Yeah,
they saw this coming.
Yeah,
and they said they didn't ask what about the gun. Ain't asked where it was or nothing. It wasn't until the school shooting started that the dad suspected that it was the son, because he went home and saw that the gun wasn't there. But that parents hold the responsibility for their children. That's like if you have a child and they throw a party at your house and you don't know anything about it, and somebody get hurt, or if there's underage drinking, you get the charge because they're minors. Yeah.
And I think when you have assault weapons, wouldn't you want to have a lock and a key? You don't want to have that hanging on the wall, would you? Especially not when
they said they had it in a drawer. They had it in a drawer.
Oh, yeah, that's why they got picked up then.
Mm-hmm. They say they go there. She's in the 10th grade. She was in the other room. She was there. I've seen some of those videos. Did you see? They had the one video where the kids are in the classroom and somebody, they come and knock the shooter. Most likely the shooter comes knocking on the door. Yeah. And he said, it was like, oh, well, who is it? He's like, well, it's the sheriff's office. And he was like, y'all need to open the door. And they was like, nah, we don't think we should do that right now. He's like, well, come on, man, open the door. I'll show you my badge. And he said, bro. And the kids are like, oh no. He said, bro. Law officers don't say bro. Yeah. They got out the window and got the safety. And I'm so glad.
Yeah. And they followed all the procedures. You know, those teachers was barricading the doors to the classroom. They're switching off the lights. Yeah. But it's just amazing, man. Now in school, you got to have emergency preparations. I mean, it's like the first day of school. You have to prepare for potential shooter exercises, and that's the world we live in.
Well, Dave Chappelle brought that up too. Kassan Carter said, yes, I heard the parents are on the run. Yeah, they're on the run. I heard they're on the run. He said the dad purchased the gun Black Friday.
So that was a week ago. So that was a week ago. After,
day after Thanksgiving. Say the school should have sent him home. Yes, why didn't he get sent home?
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Because they brought the parents in that day, though, right? As my understanding.
Yeah, they brought them in that day. Yeah, brought them in that day.
Yeah,
man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I mean, it is what it is. Whoa, we're talking about Dave Chappelle, and he said, yeah, they have drills when about active shooters. He said, but aren't you teaching the shooter where everybody's gonna go? It's like, because that kid was in those drills. He saw what happens when the active shooter comes in, so they know what to do. No, that's the one thing. Oh, here I am, and yes, I'm eating crow. Let's go in the building. Hey, Kassan called you out, dog.
Yeah, about that Jaguars victory there.
Yeah. For sure.
What's the prediction on
the Rams? Hey, we getting our head beat in. The Rams gonna beat our head in. Jalen Ramsey's gonna have a great game, and we about to get into this Jalen Ramsey talk because there's a certain radio station in town that has chapped my hide, and I'm about to blast them. They've been doing some terrible reporting for a long time, and it's time for a change, man. It's time for a change. They got to go out with the old, in with the new. Get them old heads out of here. They've had the mic for too long.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's like the University of Florida club.
Yeah, the dad was in court for arraignment. Okay, so the dad was in court for arraignment, and Ness say another loss. Yeah, Ness, we're gonna suffer another loss. So, but yeah, rest in peace to Tate Meyer and Otis Anderson Jr. Those things, it's unfortunate. But let's get into this Jalen Ramsey now. Let's talk this Jags Rams. We're gonna talk some Jags. We're gonna talk Jalen Ramsey. Then I got a few more topics. Okay, we 26 minutes in, so we doing good time. But yeah, let me share this so people can see it, and so you can see why I'm so pissed off with this 1010 XL and the things that they've said about Jalen Ramsey, because this isn't, if there's, and I know this word is overused, but if you want to use the term toxic media, toxic reporting, this is it. This is it in a nutshell. So 1010 XL, they put out a tweet, and this is from the Frank Frangie show, and they asked, what do you think of Jalen Ramsey? They say, Jalen is really about Jalen. I thought that when he was here. That's Frank Frangie. Lauren said, I think he's a fraud. And Hayes Carline said, he's a great football player, but he's a bad guy. You can't convince me otherwise. And then the comments, this guy, Sean, he said, y'all couldn't even add him. So that's how y'all scared of him. Y'all are. Yeah, tag him in it then, if that's the case. And somebody posted, he said, Jalen Ramsey pledged and donate $1 million to help underprivileged students in Nashville, his hometown. And basically saying that he's a great football player, but he's a bad guy. You can't convince me otherwise. Yeah, this has to stop. This has to stop, because we already know if Jalen Ramsey was of another hue, this wouldn't go on. They wouldn't be saying these things about Jalen. This is personal. One thing about it, you don't make it personal. We talked about this on one of our first shows. Dale Demps, he made it personal. This is a business. You don't make these things personal. But the media has had an axe to grind with Jalen for a long time. Now, don't get me wrong. Jalen was not perfect while he was here. He was immature. He acted out. He was emotional. But now he's going through his maturation process. He's balling out. He's in the middle of a Pro Bowl season. Four Pro Bowls and I think 2 All Pros. He's in the middle of a Hall of Fame career if he keeps this up. And this reporting on him, talking about his character, the type of person he is, you don't know this man. You never talk to him. You would never sit across from him. None of them in that room would sit across from Jalen and say what they just said to his face. None.
Yeah. I agree with everything, man. I feel, another thing I add to this. I don't think Jacksonville was ready for a guy like Jalen. I don't think they were ready for a guy who expressed himself, who didn't care about no media. I mean, I was there at those press conferences. He didn't care if you had 1010 XL, Florida Times-Picayune, WJXT. If he didn't like you, or you tried to ask him something and he gave it back to you, it is what it is. But the thing about this business, Brandon, you can't. I think too many people in this market takes things too personal. You can't take things personal, man, because for every Jalen, there's 6 other guys. Whether it's NFL or NBA, is 6 times worse, But I also think, you have to allow athletes to have their own personalities, and you can't. I thought a lot of times the media here, and I'm media too. I thought a lot of times, particularly at that radio station, where they put you in their box. They frame you up, sculpture you in the way they want you to be sculptured.
Yeah.
And if you don't conform to that sculpture, then you out. The negativity will start. Oh, he's got his personality. he's a cancer, and you start with all these adjectives. And I think the problem is that we live in an age now where the athletes are not conformed to how you want them to be. You know, they're not going to be in your box. They're going to be their own box. They're going to be where they come from. And he was one who exemplified that. He didn't care if you didn't like him. He's still going to be Jalen. He didn't care if he talked trash or he made this statement. He didn't make it for you to. He wasn't talking for you to like him. Put it that way.
Right.
You know, he didn't care. You know.
Yeah.
And I think here in Jacksonville that we are used to athletes who nicey. You know. You know. Yeah. And the media feel like where they need us. He didn't need the media, you know. And I tell you this, he was an attraction. I could post a video on Jalen, and it'll get more page views than anything that done happened with the Jaguars then and now, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I said this before. I said the problem with the Jaguars when Jalen was here is that you can't have Tom Coughlin treating guys in a way that he treated when he coached the Giants, because the person, believe it or not, the players in the 90s are different than the players in 2020s.
Yeah.
And those guys wasn't going to be talked down to. They're not going to not say if something was on that, like Jalen. When the problem with Jalen Ramsey's situation was that he fixed the problem with the head coach when they had that argument in the Houston game.
He did. What
happened was Caldwell came in and wanted to be the cop, and he wanted to handle it so everybody can see, because the organization was having a clash of who was in charge. You know, Caldwell was being overshadowed by Coughlin. So I'm figuring that he thought, well, if I can get on the top guy and put him in his place and the team see this, then they'll know that I'm in charge. And those are the problems with this. I don't think it's a problem now, but it was a problem back then. They didn't know who was in charge. You know, they saw Coughlin on the field every day. And then you got a guy sitting in the background named Dave Caldwell who was thirsting for power. And then he basically used Jalen as an example, and basically Jalen said, "I'm not going to play on an organization that disrespected me."
Yes, they did disrespect him,
and they did disrespected him, and he put in the trade request, and he didn't care how Jacksonville felt about it. He said it was over, you know, and you know, that radio station is just like, man, you have to allow these guys to be. And I know you got radio personalities and everybody out for their own brand and all this kind of thing. But when you tweeting things like, you know, I thought he was this and that, and we're talking 219 is when the trade happened.
Yeah.
It's 221 right now. And basically, it sounds like you being resentful of a guy because he's good, because he's personality, and it didn't work. Things don't work out in organizations, man. Everybody don't fit, you know. In most situations that a player is not, whether he was drafted 5th overall, number 1 overall, number 2 overall, they're not going to stay with that same organization for the entire, you know, duration of their career, you know. But this town got to change, particularly for black athletes, man, because I'm going to bring this topic up because I feel coming in here from the outside in 2017 and still seeing the same thing, this town has to become more diverse. The diversity has to be more important in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Because when you look around, and I'm going to ask you to observe this, how many commercials from the black athletes on the Jaguars football team, how many commercials you see them make?
Very little. I'm talking about very little. I barely see them on billboards, advertisements. I don't see it often, and I never thought about that until you brought that up just now. I don't see it.
What is the? I mean, I might have lost so much. It's been a tough week. The offensive lineman that they drafted, you know, he has a commercial.
Who, Walker Little?
Walker Little. On that radio station.
Wow. Walker couldn't even get on the field, and he got a commercial.
And then
why James Robinson don't have a commercial?
Yeah, James Robinson. What about Dwayne Smoot? What about Miles Jack, who's done been here for the last since 2016? Dwayne Smoot done been here since 2017.
I should see a billboard of Josh Allen tomorrow.
And even when Calais Campbell was here, I mean, I don't think there was anybody who fit the role model as a role model than Calais Campbell.
Josh Stewart said it. He said, I guess they expect everyone to be Calais Campbell or Tebow. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for that comment right there.
But even Calais didn't have a whole bunch of endorsements in this town.
No, he didn't.
I'm looking at Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor probably, in my estimation, probably is the best guy.
He's the best Jaguar. Yeah, he's the best Jaguar. It ain't Tony Baselli, y'all. It's Fred Taylor.
Yeah. And he's got to fight just to say, I deserve to be in the hall.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he does.
And if Fred Taylor was in Tampa, if Fred Taylor was played in Miami, if Fred Taylor was with the Dallas Cowboys, if Fred Taylor was anywhere, he would be, his status in that town would be 3 times what it is than what it is right here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
The guy that played in the backyard at the University of Florida, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him on no commercials since I came back here in 2017.
None. You're right.
Something wrong with that. I mean, I'm not speaking the chorus. I notice everything. I don't see commercials. I don't hear them on the radio commercials, and it should. And that's got to change.
Yeah, it does. See, let me get some of these comments. Say, Kassan Carter said those dudes is horrible. They all biased listening, but they straight horrible. Oh yeah, they're biased, always biased. He said I posted on that and letting them have it, and now I can't find my post. Imagine that. Oh yeah, they deleted you, Ness. They deleted you because hey, you can go to that tweet right now. Go to 1010XL on Twitter and look at that tweet that they made about Jalen Ramsey. Look at the quote tweets and look at the comments. People are killing them. People killing them. Yeah, they like, why you worry about Jalen when the franchise is terrible? You don't know why you worry about Jalen? Jalen in the upper echelon.
Why you worried about it? It's been what, almost 3 years since he's been gone. What they got to do with the team now?
Let it go. Like Frozen, the little girl saying, "Let it go, let it go, let it go." Kassan Carter brings up a good point too. He says, "Small market can't take it coming from mid market." It goes over their head. Yeah, small market teams have a hard time holding on to stars, and they always will. Big markets will always win out. Teams like the LA Rams and the Chargers are always going to attract the top guys because they want to play in the spotlight.
But you know what, though, Brandon? When you small market, that makes it to the point that you got to make sure you got to make sure you treating your guys right so they don't want to leave.
Yeah, and this comment right here, he said, Jags, the only sports team to talk about the downfall for Jacksonville is the city needs another major hit other than football. Other cities have baseball or basketball or something else. There is no after game life effect. Players don't want to play here.
Good point.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. But they have to you have to stop the bias. You have to stop the bias. Because now it's getting to a point where 1010 is no longer it's no longer listenable. You can't listen to it anymore unless you're a straight up Gators fans or you like the them pumping sunshine up your backside. I can't listen to them because they're not objective. They don't have they all kind of have the same takes on stuff, man. It's crazy.
It's the same takes.
Yes. And you mentioned it. The people who've had a difference of opinion are gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. I had Big Game James on here. Y'all go back and I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I had James Coleman, who used to be on 1010 XL, and he talked about it. He said, dude, they you can't talk bad about the Jags, they say. You can't say things bad about the Jags because 1010 is the flagship station, but you can be critical of them and the moves they made.
Yeah,
you can.
Well, you got to if you're a radio station. I mean, you got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't you can't wear your Jaguars hat and jersey.
Yeah.
And say it's okay to be 1-15. Say it's okay to be 2-9, and think that's acceptable, or being or being journalistic,
Yeah.
And I think and that's the thing, man. If we're gonna be a big time town and we're gonna be a big time market, we need more than one sports channel here. To be honest.
Yes, we do. Our population has been growing over the last decade. You notice more traffic, more people are moving here. So you need other outlets.
Yeah.
They can't control the narrative anymore. And that's what's up, Chris. He say they have a narrative and the story must go on. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they have a narrative, and they've been spewing that narrative for what the better part of a decade plus. I know for certain. Say Josh Stewart says Leon Searcy is pretty good on there. Leon is decent. Yeah. I've listened to Leon. Leon's not like the others. I'm not going to call anybody by name. I just call the people who made those remarks about Jalen. But as you can see, people in the comments, they agree with what we've been saying. They listen to and they see the bias. And if we can see it, come on, man.
Yeah. And it's like cable, Shit, I want options. I mean,
yeah.
I think the whole world. Hey, you gotta have options in this world, man.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to go to another station. And I like hearing the Cullen Cowards and all those, the national people. But I would like to have a little bit more diversity and a little bit more of just a broader range of opinions locally. We do like on more high schools. I say this, being a native, I'm tired of like, it's almost to me, and I come back home like the only school in Jacksonville is Bowles. It's like I mean, come on. And then we talk about like what happened to basketball in Jacksonville. There used to be basketball in Jacksonville where you couldn't even get into the gyms. You couldn't get into a Reigns and Reebok game or Reebok and Jackson or any of those places. And then we talk about what happened. Well, if you don't publicize it, you don't. And back in the 80s, they used to have Reigns and Reebok and Jackson, and those games used to come on the radio station.
Yeah. Part of that is private schools pilfering the talent. Private schools come in and they offer those scholarships, and those kids are going. Like a kid could be going to Reebok, and University Christian comes and say, "Hey, come play for us and come play for the private school." And what most kids are going to do, they're going to go play for the private school.
But Trinity wins more than Bowles, and I don't see Trinity game of the week on the radio.
Reigns won 2 state titles, Mr. Reid, and they didn't get it. They didn't hardly get any pub, man. Those boys should have been on the news. It should have been parades. I mean, they should have talked about those teams, both those teams, for a long time. We should still be talking about Reigns, and they're the first school to win a state title, a public school since '95. 95 was the last time before Reigns won. 95 was the last time public school won, and this story came and went. Both titles.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that's got to change. You got to glorify because if you want to base it on Mandarin and Reigns. Reigns had to overcome a whole lot more than Mandarin winning that one state championship. Imagine public school winning 2 back-to-back championships, and how many times that's been done?
Right.
In Jacksonville.
The private school's been running it. Because the talent, the guys, they leave. Their Bowles come get those kids. Trinity come get those kids. University Christian, Bishop Kenny, Episcopal, Bishop Snyder, you name it. They come in, they bring those scholarships, and they'll take those kids away. And that's where all the pub has been going. But like you say, even then, Trinity Christian doesn't even get enough of their due. I don't know enough about Dormany, their head coach. How do I not know nothing about that man who won? How many titles he's won at Trinity Christian? It's got to be like 4 or 5.
Yeah, something like that.
He's a local legend. But I've heard about Corky Rogers though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And maybe as a thing, maybe like back in the day when they had WPDQ and they had the radio stations where everybody of color, we listened to one station. It wasn't 3 or 4. And maybe it needs to come back to that where one station catered to the needs. It was a big basket because, like I say, I'm not a believer that basketball. There's no basketball talent in Jacksonville. I don't believe that. I mean, I know it all. Jacksonville is always going to be a football town, but I think when you look back on the schools, man, we are inner city. Jacksonville is a city. We're not, we're a city. Yeah. And just like Chicago, LA, Miami, basketball is big in the inner city. So that's all I'm saying on that.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate y'all for listening to our Jack's Sports Media TED Talk. We had to get that off our chest, man. It's been too long. It's been too long. A few people have had the mic for a long time, but the beauty of social media and having your own platform is that you get to put whatever you want out there as well. You don't have to listen to that, man. Come listen to me, matter of fact. Come listen to me. Yeah. I'm gonna give you what you want. Let's say Kassan Carter said, I'm a diehard Carolina Panthers fan, but we have the Bobcats, NBA, minor league baseball, NASCAR, track. Jacksonville needs something to bring fans in. Yeah. Oh yeah, you do. And that's I wisely decided not to debate Jalen with the guy today when he said if Ramsey was so good, then why he hardly got any INTs? That man doesn't know football. All you gotta do is watch the game. They don't throw Jalen's way. That's why they moving him around. Don't debate those people, Ness. You'd have lost brain cells debating that man. He said, but Trinity Christian coach is known on the circuit on college scene. That's the college scene. What about the Jacksonville scene?
Yeah.
Dormany should have a commercial or something like it. Come on, dog. Come on. The man has achieved great things here.
The Trinity,
we hardly know anything about it.
The Trinity game of the week. That's what I'm waiting on. They win more than Bowles. That just, I got all the respect for Bowles, and things like that. But man, we can't live in a city with over 1 million people, and you just scroll the radio dial, and there you go. Friday at 7. There's Bowles. They on radio again. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. So
it
is what it is.
Diversify.
Yeah. Let's diversify. Yeah. So
we're not in a box. We gotta be a diverse city.
Yeah. But we're gonna come back to Jaguars. We're gonna talk about Atlanta, and we're gonna talk about the Rams and moving forward, this coaching staff and all of that. But we're gonna get a few topics real quick. We're gonna get these quick in because I know the Jaguars, we're gonna take a little time on them because it's the Jaguars. We gotta do it. Let's see. Don't talk about CN and Carolina coming back. Oh, she talking about North Carolina. She say, even with the Trojans girls basketball team winning the championship, the city was quiet. Oh my God, those girls, that Reebok girls basketball program is one of the best in the country, hands down.
Yeah.
How many send girls to the WNBA and everything? Send girls to Power 5 schools all the time. Their coach is one of the best basketball coaches, dude, in the state. Yeah. In the state, maybe even in the country. This program is great, and he's right. A whimper.
And Coach White, I mean, he's the coach, and he's around now. He should be celebrated as a hero, man, for starting that program, the winning and every state championships to everything. Yeah. And it's like you barely know that he retired,
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about, man. Even if you go back to the early days, Jimmy Johnson. I mean, Jimmy Johnson was one of the greatest coaches the Reigns ever have.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you gotta value the heroes, man. You gotta value the trendsetters. You gotta value the guys who put the schools on the map.
Yeah. I said that, Ness. He said, I bet you know who Corky Rogers is.
Yeah.
I said that. Everybody know who Corky Rogers is. Mm-hmm. Tell me who Reebok girls head coach is right now. You don't know. And she's won state titles. Multiple. Don't know her. But that's the city, man. That's the city. We need more sports outlets, like Mr. Reid said. We do. We need more.
We just need more. We need to have a greater appreciation of what diversity means.
Yeah.
Diversity means that you shake the tree, whatever falls is part of the basket. Yeah. Not shaking the tree and get one fruit out and then everything else don't matter. Diversity is whatever falls out that tree is worthy of anything else.
Yeah.
And that's where this city, and I preach it to the day I die, that it has to move forward. We lose a lot of things because Jacksonville has not moved forward.
Yeah.
I like to ramble. I like to ramble to say, like, man, whatever that was that they had a couple of weeks ago called the Jacksonville Agricultural the fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a fair.
No, it's not. See, Uncle Jay, you hit the nail on the head about diversity in the city. Oh, it's been a problem for a long time. Representation always matters, and it always will matter. Yeah. How can that that's like, how can I be a husband if I didn't see a husband in action? How can a woman be a wife if she didn't see a wife in action? You could talk about it all day long, but you need to see it. That's like children listen to what you say, but they repeat what was modeled in front of them. That's what happens.
And another thing about diversity is when something is good, you don't ignore it.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of being. It ain't diversity if it's, you got a high school that's won back-to-back championships, and because they won back-to-back championships, we're gonna act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not diversity.
Yeah.
We know what that is.
we know exactly what that is. Yeah. But we're gonna put a pin in that right there. We're gonna get on a few of these topics real quick. We're gonna go through them a little bit, but we're gonna talk about them. First and foremost, Mr. Antonio Brown. Oh my goodness. Oh, hold up. Before we get into Antonio Brown, is that Philip Myers? Hey, Phil, anytime you want to come on the show, my brother, please come on the show. Phil has been doing great work in this city. He's been covering high school sports and the little leagues for a very long time. Hey, Dream King Films, go check him out. He's on YouTube. Follow his page. Philip Myers has been doing that work, man. He does great interviews at the games. He interviews players, coaches, ADs, you name it. Philip has been that guy. He said Reebok girls head coach won states as a player, not as a coach, but she's regarded as one of the overall best girls to ever play in City Jacksonville. Okay, so she's won as a player, but not as a coach. But I know they won multiple titles. Not the current head coach has won, but they won multiple titles. But I appreciate that, Philip Myers, dog. Hey, anytime you want to come on, dog, let me know.
Or even go back to Coach Austin. I mean, the guy was, not a guy. I respect him. I mean, he's a legend. Everywhere he walks, it should be, like, hey, a story of, getting on the radio, talking about, how he developed girls basketball in the city. And it's like, it's almost like he's forgotten. Reebok would never be what Reebok was, even with the latter success from what Coach Austin started at that with that program.
Yeah. And say he say, thanks, bro. I'll definitely come on and talk some sports with you. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Philip is the only person who highlights for the high school games and the kids in the city from little league, middle school up to high school. Dream King Films is where I went to get the highlights of the kids in the city. When I wanted to know what kids at what schools had game and the highlights from the games, Philip Myers was covering it. He's been doing it for a long time. And hey, that's why I'm gonna give you your roses now, Phil. You've been putting in that work, my brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Hey, I matter of fact, I'll DM you and we'll set up a time. And matter of fact, our show we do next week, we probably gonna have you come on and talk with us next week, man. But I appreciate that. The Black community has become more unified to push our accomplishments in the city. And you have to, and that's one of our issues, that we have to unify. We have to unify. If we want to be taken seriously, you got to unify. Nobody said you need a leader, because think about the LGBTQ community. They don't have a leader in the face of their movement. They just collectively move as a unit and get things done. And that's how we need to do. Hey, form like Voltron, and we can get it done.
Yep, and it used to be that way. It used to be where, like I said, they used to have like WPDQ, and you had the black radio station, and they used to broadcast the big basketball games,
Yeah.
And now we don't have that. There's not enough of it,
Yeah.
They have bowls,
Oh yeah.
but nothing else. So yeah.
Oh yeah. See, and Nesco said Antonio Brown is the NFL equivalent to the NBA Ben Simmons. Oh man, leave Ben Simmons alone. Ben having a tough time. He losing money right now. He can't get that jump shot right, and he don't want to play for the Sixers, but he's running out of money, so he got to get back on the court. But Mr. Antonio Brown. So we talked about Antonio Brown. Well, I don't know if it was the last show or the show before that. And he got in some hot water because a former chef of his, who he did not pay, they had a dispute for some catering event that Antonio didn't pay. So since Antonio didn't want to pay, dude went scorched earth. He's like, hey, Antonio ain't vaccinated. He showed me the fake vaccination card. And Antonio's lawyer came out and say he is vaccinated. But then the chef dropped receipts on social media. I think it was Twitter, that it's fake. And now he's been suspended 3 games for that. And Bruce Arians said when they signed him, he has one mess up and he's gone. Is he going to hold his word? Because if we're being honest, they still need Antonio Brown on that offense.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going to keep his word, man. I'll be shocked if they cut him right now.
He's not going to keep his word, man.
I don't think so.
The word come from Tom Brady, and Tom Brady said we need to have this guy on the roster.
Yeah.
And then they're going to also say, well, he eventually did get the shot. So
yeah.
And he's serving 3 games, and he's not getting paid for those 3 games, so he's being punished. But those guys know they can't win a Super Bowl if they win one without Antonio Brown. They know that. I know the coach there. He says a lot, but he ain't. He's smart enough to realize what it's going to take if they get back to the Super Bowl, and they need Antonio Brown. They know it.
Yeah, so they know it. Mm-hmm. They know it. They know it. Let's say, how stupid can you be to already be on thin ice in the NFL and you keep doing dumb stuff? Seriously, something is wrong with dude. Yeah. And 2 other players were, I think it was John Franklin. He got 3 games. And there was another player. But everybody's caught up on the fact that Aaron Rodgers didn't get 3 games.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at the situations, and yes, they are different, because one of the differences is that Aaron was talking to the media, and they asked him, was he vaccinated? He says, I'm immunized. He was playing word games, of course. And then it come to find out, he wasn't vaccinated, and he served a fine, and he did miss a game, but it was because he had caught the bug. But Antonio lied to them. Yeah. He straight up lied to them. And that's what you don't do. You don't lie to them. When the NFL came, he lied. I'm sure when the NFL came to Aaron Rodgers, he was like, okay, y'all got me. Y'all got me. I'll face whatever punishment you're going to give me. I think that's the difference. It's not a black and white thing. Michael Vick didn't serve a year and a day because he fought dogs. Michael Vick served a year and a day because he lied to the feds. Don't lie. Yeah. Don't lie, man. Yeah, but the situation is it's stupid, man. I don't think Antonio's gonna get cut though, even though if he was anywhere else, he's gone. I mean, he's gone yesterday. Yeah. He's on a ship out of town as soon as it dropped. Before it even go viral and everybody know, the team knows first, he's cut immediately. So he's missing 3 games due to his falsifying vaccination status. He's cut. Those are the 2 headlines if he played for any other team in the NFL. But because Tom Brady wants him there, because the Bucs need him if they want to repeat, he's not going anywhere. And so he's not going to learn anything from this.
No. Yep. But man, what would you expect?
It's Antonio Brown.
Yeah. It is what it is with him.
It is what it is. So, but let's get to this next topic before we get into these Jags, because we had an hour and we're gonna spend probably about 30 minutes on these Jags. So, let's see, what was my other one? Oh, Mr. Robert Griffin III. So, Robert Griffin III is putting out a book. It's supposed to come out August 2022. I don't know why it's so far away, but maybe he's still writing it, I guess, and he got to go through publishing and all of that. But he's talking about his time with the football team and how he suffered sexual harassment while he was there. He witnessed it while he was there. Some of the issues between Shanahan and the owner and the other coaches. The issue he had when the doctors cleared him to play in the playoff game against Seattle and his knee turned away. The knee is not supposed to turn. And he shouldn't have. They say he shouldn't have been out there, but they cleared him anyway. And so he's gonna let the chopper sing. He's gonna tell it all, man. And I gotta hear it. I gotta hear this. And I was talking to a buddy. I said he may know something about these emails too. So if he got some of these emails in there, this is about to get really, really spicy, man.
Man, I can't even follow that up with a rebuttal. I'm ready for all of it to be launched and put out there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know. Hey man, he's being the whistleblower, huh?
So yeah, he's gonna be the whistleblower. And people's like, well, why did he talk about it before now? Why he won't just talk about it now? Why does he have to wait till he has a book and all of that? Let that man do it. He's gonna profit off of this book. That's why he's doing books. He's gonna profit off of it. This is something that's part of his legacy that's always gonna be there. And let him do it his way. But I am ready to see what he says. But along those lines, about the situation with the Washington football team, there's a story in the New York Post. Shout out to the New York Post. They have some good articles. Brent Musburger calls John Gruden Raiders exit a professional hit job. And the way he phrased it, it made sense to me because he says, let's see, I want to go through the whole article because it's long. But let's see. He said, okay, this one said, he said, as I told Coach, whoever took you out, John, that was a paid assassin. He said to JT the Brick in Las Vegas, he said, that was one of the best hit jobs I've ever been around. They didn't go to their media goombas. They didn't leak this to Adam Schefter or of one of those guys that break stories. They first went to the Wall Street Journal. And when Gruden was still coaching after that, then they dumped the rest of it on the New York Times. That was a professional hit job. And when you word it like that, yeah. So I just want to share a little bit of that. Go check that article out and listen to what Brent Musburger said. But they say one of the hurdles that he has to overcome in this case, that because Gruden has a case against the Washington football team and the NFL and what they did, even with the emails, he has a case. But his hurdle he's going to have is speculation that this was leaked by somebody outside of the NFL. And if that's the case, if anybody from outside the NFL had anything to do with it, his case falls apart because you're suing the NFL and you're suing Goodell and them. So if anybody else leaked this or had anything to do with it, right then and there, the NFL can weasel their way out of this one. But I hope they don't, because they did this specifically just to target John Gruden. Yeah, he said some things he shouldn't have said, but you need to release all those emails. This is the problem. Yeah. Other people have said things, 650,000 emails, and we've only heard about 11 of them.
Yeah.
Come on now. And they said they're not going to release the rest. What's in those emails?
Yeah, and then you have an investigation, but nobody knows what you investigated. Does that make any sense? Yeah, we 600-something thousand emails, but we're not going to disclose what we were looking for. Or what we found, which is more important. We're not going to
tell you about this guy.
Yeah, but we're going to tell you about what he did. We want him out the league, So yeah, we can, it wasn't no accident, no mistake, We have all the proof in the world that he said what he said. And just man, the NFL is so fickle. It ain't funny, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just fickle, man. It almost like makes you upset about sports in general. That it's just so much politics. Like it's almost like Washington, the real Washington, and the politics between the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah. You know? Oh yeah. Let's say Green Bay knew he wasn't vaccinated. Yeah, they did. They knew Rodgers was done when he showed up to that Halloween party as John Wick when he was really John Sick. That's funny. He said, "Why does it feel so weird when men are airing dirty laundry?" It kind of does, but I'm telling you, I want to hear it, man. I want to hear this tea. I want him to spill it all, man. I want to hear this because they keep a lot of stuff under wraps. We need to hear it. He said, "I believe that article, Brandon, especially after I read it and put the pieces together." Oh yeah, after I read the article, I was like, "Yeah, Musburger has a point. He does." Say he must be kin to Trump. Julie. Crazy, man. Crazy. But yeah, so I'm ready. I'm ready to see this, man, because they said that they're not going to release the other emails because there are people who are a part of it who want to stay anonymous. Yeah. And the representative of the people who are basically suing the Washington football team for harassment, certain practices, they said that that's a lie. That's a lie. Those people don't want to stay anonymous. They're willing to put their names out there. So the NFL needs to release those emails. Yeah. And if I'm Mark Davis, I'm making sure that this gets resolved. I'm staying on him because you know his dad wouldn't have took this laying down. So Mark Davis, Al Davis would have tore it up. Yeah. Al Davis would have tore this whole thing up. Man.
Yeah, Al would have been filing lawsuits in Tahiti somewhere.
Man, Al Davis would have been killing them, dog. Oh my goodness. So I expect Mark Davis because you tanked Mark Davis's season.
They did. Yes, indeed. No question.
They said they knew about this round draft time, so they could have told him then. They chose to release him when they did, and that was purposefully done.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So it is what it is, but we're gonna finish it up because we at 107 now, so we're gonna cap it at that 130. So let's get back to these Jaguars. Let's talk about this past game and this game coming up. I will say Sunday, watching them against the Atlanta Falcons, I like more of what I saw from the offense. It wasn't much, but it was better than what we've seen. And Trevor talked about it. He said that we think that offense and what we ran is more of what we're trying to accomplish. So they're going to build off of that. And they got Trevor on the move. Trevor's not he's not a statue. He's not as Booger McFarland says, he's not an iron deer on the lawn. Meaning he can't move. Hey, when I was coaching football and we would have coaching high school football and we have white quarterbacks who could run, we say, hey, white boy got wheels. He can move. He's faster than your average white guy. Okay, so we're going to keep him on the run. We're going to do RPOs. We're going to let him use that. Because that's a threat. And Trevor is smart. Trevor knows how to run, get down, get out of bounds. He got knocked out in that, I think it's North Carolina State game, if I'm not mistaken. They knocked him smooth out the game. He ain't took a hit like that since. So he understands. He knows he's going to protect himself. So the offensive staff, it needs to go. It needs to go.
But Brandon, I'll say this. Where was this in August? Where was this in training camp? Where was this in September? And especially where was this in the week one at Houston? I mean, I feel that, I feel like they thrust the pro style offense on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
They didn't condense the playbook, and they should have just said, look, we're going to have some plays that we're going to implement that you like, that similar to what you ran at Clemson.
Yeah.
Where we could get you on the move. And then once we get that in the playbook where we can make you feel comfortable from the start, then we'll start adding more of the pro style stuff in the offense. We start ingraining as the season go along. The Jaguars did the reverse, you know. And this is another Bevel mistake. You know, it's like Bevel felt that, you know, this is our system, this is my system, this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But Myre made a mistake by, you know, he's confiding too much into his offensive and defensive coordinators, and he's standing outside the office door while the Bevel implemented this, and he struggled. You know, I mean, the offense stagnant, it struggled, and they wasn't doing the things to take advantage of Lawrence's strengths. You know, they basically say, hey, this is our offensive pro style offense, and you're gonna run this. You know, we don't care about what you did at Clemson. So now they're like at that point, 2-7 or whatever it was, and the offense ain't going nowhere. And they implemented they tweaked the offense, and it's 11 weeks into the season. Like, I mean, they did the exact opposite of what they should have did.
Yeah.
And and like you say, I mean, somebody got to answer to these mistakes, because it has hurt some of his development. You know, it's like, you know, now he's feeling comfortable with 6 games to go. He should have been feeling comfortable when it was 14, 15 games to go in the season.
Yeah.
And let him gradually get more comfortable. And then you put in where you empty back set and all that stuff, and just, you know, but you gotta simply, I mean, you bring in, I mean, this should have been discussed when they were evaluating them to draft them. You know, they had to come up, should have been thinking about what's the best concepts to get the most of his talent immediately.
Yeah.
Because if you're a rookie quarterback, you want to have a situation in the season where his confidence either stay level from the start to the end, or it gradually increases. But you don't want to have where immediately his, you know, it's like he's struggling. You know, he didn't throw a touchdown pass in 4 games, so he's questioning things. He's moving out of the pocket a little quicker, and it's like he's flatlining, and then you're gonna like, okay, well, we need to get him more comfortable, and now it's December. So that type of philosophy got to stop, man, because if you, I mean, I don't know what happened to the other quarterbacks in the past, but you don't want the most important thing he has, because he's got the arm strength, he's got the talent, but you don't want him like mentally that he's questioning his own ability, when we all know he's got an ability, you know, or when he's questioning, man, I'm doing the best I can and we still can't score a touchdown. Because you got to put him in the best situation it is. And we know they don't have the skill set guys to really be a threat, you know, and
showcase his skill set.
Right. So you gotta do what you can from a coaching standpoint to make sure that you got to put him in the best situation. And they did not do that for the first 3 months of the season. And they're doing a lot better job of that now, but it shouldn't have took 11 weeks into the season and start running RPO plays for them, or you know, doing the things that he did at Clemson a little bit, and doing it now. That should have been done September, August. Should have been done in training camp, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, what they did was they waited until this offense went into cardiac arrest before they started to do resuscitation.
Yep.
You know, as soon as the offense called a cold, which was from the beginning, you should have got the Robitussin out instead of waiting until they went into cardiac arrest, and now you're trying to fix things.
Yep.
This is the thing. This is not a Urban Meyer offense, people. To all the fans watching, Jaguar fans, Urban Meyer's offense has never looked like this nowhere he's been. This is Darrell Bevell through and through, you know. And go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, if Urban going to be successful in Jacksonville, Urban got to take. He can't be on one. I feel right now he's like a bystander. He's like an onlooker. You know, you can't be a head coach and be a CEO, you know what Bevel's running ain't really what your style that you ever had at Ohio State or Florida or Bowling Green or anywhere that he coached.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he confided in thinking that all the 17 years in college football wasn't enough to take all that knowledge and all the things that he did successfully in college and transfer it to the NFL. Either he didn't feel confident with himself or he didn't feel confident it would work. So what he did was, I gotta get NFL guys who know this game, who I that I gotta trust their knowledge, I gotta trust their input, I gotta trust what they say, and he trusted too much. That's the problem. And if he's gonna fix this if he's gonna take the band-aid off this franchise, he better be the Urban Myre who knows. I think he knows football. I mean, you don't go 17 years as a college coach, win 3 national championships, and the NFL is that much different than the college level. So he's got to take, in order, he's got to put the foot on the gas pedal. I mean, he's got to work. I mean, I'm sure that he's working, but he's got to be the guy who get on the. He got to know when James Robinson is in the game and not in the game. He's got to take a greater appreciation of what he can provide. He's got to get out of this mindset. Just because you recruited a player, just because you coach him at Ohio State, that he's that same level player now in the NFL, that's baloney. Yeah. And he's got to be like he's back at the University of Florida in that first or second year, and everything matters on winning. And he's not relying on somebody else's opinion, or he's not thinking that 17 years winning on college level ain't good enough for the NFL level. He's got to take the headsets, he's got to make the decisions, and he's got to be a lot more assertive if he's going to be successful. And he can just you don't be a CEO no more. So don't be an onlooker. Take control. If you getting the big dollars, if you got that whatever 7-year contract, then you got to be the guy who makes the football team the way you want it to be. Not what Bevel wants, not what Cullen wants, what you want. Yeah, and he hadn't done that. He hadn't done that the whole year.
Yeah, Phil Myers say Urban is definitely a bystander. All he does is stand by and let things happen. Yeah. And Ness say, I hate when these coaches force their schemes on players instead of playing to the strengths of the player. You should want your players in the best possible position to perform on the top level, and it shouldn't take 8 losses to get it right. Ness, you're right, because it's Jimmys and Joes. It's not X's and O's. Yeah, the players are the most important part of it. If you don't have the players, as you can see, we don't have the players, so it doesn't matter what Jacksonville has been running because we don't have the players. It's the Jimmys and the Joes. But for them to be this bad, it's the coaching staff, man. Let's see what we got. Go ahead.
I wish they could hire Dabo.
Dabo.
As an offensive coordinator. As an offensive coordinator.
Okay. I'll take him as an OC.
As an OC.
Yeah, I'll take him as an OC. And Urban should know that his system would work in the NFL because they say every offseason there's always a group of coaches from different teams. They went to Oklahoma. He's now at USC. They went to Lincoln Riley and wanted some of his concepts for his offense. Yeah. Lincoln Riley's offense is in the NFL right now, and it's being run in the NFL right now because coaches have went to Oklahoma and talked to him and got pointers from him and got concepts from him to put into NFL offenses for the quarterbacks coming out of college. Yeah. So Urban, same thing with him. Run your offense, Urban. You got to get Bevel out of here, man.
And that's what I'm most shocked about. how in the world did he come to the conclusion that you're basically being hired by what you achieved on the college level? That's why he was hired.
That's why he was hired.
Because he won every no matter where he was at. Utah, he won. Bowling Green, he won. Florida, he won.
Yep.
Ohio State, he won. And
yep.
How do you go from, his winning percentage is 87%. He won 3 national championships. And how do you go from that to, I don't feel comfortable enough for me to take what my principles are, regardless at what level, and I got to be the coach who learned NFL from his assistants.
Yeah.
Because
if he had better assistants, it'll be better. Because, like you said, we're tired of retreads. Schottenheimer and Bevel been on 10 teams.
Yeah.
It's already proven, dog. We know what they are. No.
Yeah.
Go get you some guys.
So even if you get guys from the college level, like you say, these college teams, they running that spread option. I mean,
hey, I wouldn't mind Dan Mullen as the OC.
Yeah, I mean, he's an X and O guy. I mean,
quarterback guy too.
I would think that he would be something like the coach in New Orleans, where he's just drawing plays on a napkin and see if they work. Mm-hmm. That's what you gotta have. You gotta have a guy as an OC who's willing to take chances, who's willing to do things differently, and not afraid to gamble. You gotta be a gambler. You can't just, all these OCs done been here. Other than I think, I kind of like what Hackett used to do when he was here, but everything that preceded him is like, you know what they're gonna run before they run it.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about this before from that 2017 team. They fired the wrong coordinator.
Ain't no question.
Todd Wash should have been fired. Nate Hackett should have still been here.
Yeah. Todd Wash is still bad. I watched that game on Thanksgiving. His guys getting blowed off the ball, and there's no adjustment, not playing in the gap. They overrunning plays.
Probably running zone. He should be running man. He did that a lot here.
Yeah, zone.
We had two of the best man corners in the entire NFL, and he was in zone. He was in zone.
And you know what? They talked about it after that game with the Patriots. They got beat because they were in zone. You had AJ Bouye and Jalen Ramsey who could cover anybody. Even if you just isolated Ramsey in man on his guy and had the Bouye play zone, they still would have won.
Yeah. Yeah, because Tom Brady eats zone up. You don't play zone against Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's just chopping the tree.
Just like that, man. Every single time.
He doesn't need a 60-yard pass. He just say, I'll take a 10 there, 15 here, 20 there. Oh, back to 15 here. As long as the chain's moving, I'm getting the first down. He was chopping that tree down on them, man.
Yeah. And you could tell this offense, they've been coaching scared, man. I watched the Rich Eisen show. Rich Eisen has a really good show. I like Rich Eisen. I like his coverage. He had Jordan Palmer on, brother of Carson Palmer. And Jordan Palmer has been training quarterbacks for years now. I know he trained. Blake was there with him. I think Trevor has worked with him as well. And they asked him about Trevor and Trevor's development. And Jordan Palmer said he's not worried. He said I would be worried if he was continuing to make the same mistakes. He said, but Trevor's confident. Trevor has all the skill sets and all the talent in the world. He said Trevor's not making the same mistakes, and that's what you want to see in his development. Yeah.
And they got to continue to, even going into next year, man, they got to come up with a concept that he likes, getting him involved in the things that makes him the best quarterback he can be. And it's just for the life of me, all that time that they were evaluating and going through the draft and evaluating, and even when he took the job in January, they knew that Trevor was going to be their number one pick. And then just for the life of me, how do you not come up with concepts to take advantage of all history? You don't go back and watch all the Clemson games to see what worked, what didn't work, what we need to add, what, you know. I still remember the Clemson coach telling them, Coach, you don't have to do too much with him. You know, he's got all the basics, you know. You just basically put him in a situation to make him successful. That's basically what he was telling them. When they went to Clemson to evaluate him on his pro day. And it's like these guys, like they're gonna I think the worst thing a coach can do is redefine somebody.
Yeah. Trevor was the only quarterback I saw coming out that I thought was plug and play. No matter where he went, start him day one and he's ready to go. Now, of course, Mac Jones started from day one and he's flourished too, but he's in New England. So, I would hope that he's doing well up there. But Trevor was the one plug and play because the way Trevor gets better is by playing. Yeah. It's going to be by playing and him getting that experience. Jordan Palmer talked about it. He said that you have to let those guys make those mistakes. They have to, because he needs to know, hey, I can't make this throw that I made in college in the NFL. The windows are too tight. Yeah. You know, whether I want to risk here, my calculation here, my delivery here, the ball placement here. He needs experience to learn those things, man.
I'll give you an example in this Atlanta game. And we said this on the show probably about 2 months ago. I say if you're going to utilize LaVisca, then utilize him on a slant, but he's running outside. Don't use a slant where he's coming into the coverage. On one of those completions he's made, he went from left to right. Just a crossing slant where he's got room to run and there ain't a guy like right on him. And they hit that play and they don't throw that play no more in the game. I mean, you gotta put your guys in position to be successful, man. Why run a hitch and he got a linebacker 2 feet from him, a safety about 2 inches from him, and a corner that's behind him. I mean, what is he gonna do? He ain't gonna outrun him. So I mean, you gotta get the guy in open space so he can make a play. You know, and that's the thing that's why Bevel, they gotta get an offensive coordinator who can create lanes. Lanes. You gotta have lanes for guys to make plays in. You gotta visualize lanes for these guys to have. If he get hit on a 10-yard pass, I want to see him make 10 more by running after the catch. Open spaces. And another thing, Brandon, they got to get offensive linemen who can pull and run downfield. They don't have them. Watch the Chiefs. Even the Chiefs got a bad offensive line, but when they got anybody that doesn't call a pass, they running down the field. They were looking for somebody to block. Dallas too. But our guys, we standing around. It's like shit. You think Norwell gonna run 20 yards down the field to look for somebody to block? He felt he done his job at the line of scrimmage. And I'm gonna say this again. I'm betting right now, man. I like Jawan Taylor, but come on, man.
Shoot, Jawan. You gotta. I don't know if Dan Arnold is the guy because I think they haven't used Dan Arnold to his fullest potential. I mean, I like what I've seen from him. O'Shaughnessy coming off the injury. He looked, caught a few passes. He looked decent. Don't look like he's 100% just yet, but he looked decent. But you got to figure out the tight end position. The book on these wide receivers, they can't separate. There's no speed. They can't separate. But I've seen better offensive coordinators with receivers that can't separate on a regular basis. Get them open. I've seen it on other teams.
Use some guys off the practice squad. I want to see what Josh Hammond do in a game. Even though he's a possession guy, I want to see what he can do. Because, I mean, what else you getting?
Yeah, because the big name, the known names that you brought in have given you nothing. John Brown, Philip Dorsett, Tavon Austin caught a touchdown, but you've largely got nothing from those guys, man. Nothing. Like let the new guys, the young guys who are hungry, trying to make the team, come in, man. That's what the season is done. So I want to see the young guys, those vets and stuff, people who ain't gonna be here next year, whatever. I want to see the young guys. You need to find building blocks for the future. Put the young guys out there, man.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't. I mean, at this point, you're 2-9. So what do you play for? You're trying to see what you got for next season. Well, most places that would be the incentive. Who cares if you're 3-14 or whatever it is at the end of the season? It ain't no different than 2-15. I mean, what's the difference? It's still bad.
Still bad. You still gonna have a losing record at the end of the season, you know. So but other than that, I think defensively, you know, Cordero Patterson, man, they weren't ready for Cordero Patterson.
No, they wasn't ready for Debo either. But you know,
man, and you saw back-to-back games where a wide receiver toted the rock on us. That hurt. That hurt a little bit. But overall, man, they didn't play bad. They weren't terrible. You know, they weren't terrible. But the running game, you got to fix that. I don't want wide receivers toting the hundo on us, man. Those are wide receivers, man. Cordero Patterson is not a running back. He's a wide receiver, man.
But you know what, Brandon? How can you lie? The Falcons are a bad football team, man.
They are a bad football team.
They came into the game. They've been outscored 68-3, and immediately it wasn't even 4 minutes into the second quarter, and they already had a 14-0 lead against the Jags.
Yes.
I mean, and then I go back to this game Sunday. It's a long ways to go to LA to see who in the world, maybe Brandon Linden, but who gonna stop the Rams defensive front? Who's gonna block? Who's gonna block Donald?
Oh my God, he's gonna destroy us. I'm telling you, if we getting blown out, dude, take Trevor out.
Yeah,
take him out. Take him out because he's going to get hurt. Take him out,
man. If it's 21-0 at the end of the first, I just man, go put on your.
Bethard, warm up. you got to protect the future, man. You have to protect the future
because that team coming in, they done lost 3 games in a row. They playing at home. They mad as hell. They got 30 sacks already. They got 30 sacks, and the Jags got 19. If you add 2 of their guys, got just as many sacks as the whole team of the Jags.
Yeah.
And you think Andrew Norwell gonna be able to block Donald?
No, you're not. They're not going to be able to do it. And then Jalen Ramsey, wherever, and I don't know where he's going to be and who he's going to cover, but Trevor, don't throw that way. Wherever you see Jalen Ramsey at, throw the opposite way. Don't
but they got him disguised, man. He's gonna be, he can line up. You never know where he's gonna line. He'd be in the slot. He'd be outside, and really, there's no number 1 receiver for the Jags. So,
right. So you see what San Francisco did to Darnold. They took him out. He didn't have a catch.
Yeah. So man, I wouldn't shock me if Jalen blitzed but 3-4 times.
It wouldn't shock me either. It wouldn't shock me either. So I'm predicting Rams big. I mean, this game, I don't think this game is going to be close.
And then Griffin not in. Griffin is out. Your top
Griffin is out again. Our top corner out again.
Out again. Not playing. James Robinson is questionable. He practiced. He practiced today, but he obviously not back at where he needs to be at from a health standpoint.
He's not 100%, but he was still toting the rock Sunday, man. Yeah. When they put the ball in that kid's hands, he make things happen. Bevel got to go, man. They got to go.
I don't understand. I don't understand why do they undervalue this kid, man? Yeah. There's a difference between Carlos Hyde and James Robinson. One averaging like 5 yards a carry. Yeah. And Hyde is averaging like less than almost a little more than two and a half. That's a difference. He's averaging 3 yards more carries than you. I go back to the game where they took him out for 16 plays because the guy helmet hit the ball out of his hand, and he had his first career fumble. And I don't, Lord knows how many carries he got. He got
Yes.
benched for 16 games. I mean 16 snaps.
Yeah.
What is that, man?
Yeah.
You know, bench the guy for 16 snaps, man.
Hey, Ness say he'd rest him. He wouldn't play him. He said because Rams are going to kill him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't feel safe with that offensive line. Hell, he might need to say it. Say, Coach.
I can take a rain check on this game, Coach, because man,
I just don't feel safe, man. He's gonna be like 2-step drops and maybe even just drop down, because I think that's what it's gonna be. They're gonna come in there from the, it's hard trying to avoid a pass rush when the pressure is coming from the middle.
Yes, and that if you want to know the recipe to beating Hall of Fame type quarterbacks like the Brady's, like Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, any top quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, you saw what we did to Josh Allen with pressure up the middle. Pressure up the middle wrecks the whole game.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It wrecks your whole game plan.
Quick decisions. You got to get the ball out your hand. And I've seen Aaron Donald, man. I have actually seen him in a game where he threw like a 300-pound lineman down with one hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Shoot, I was watching the other night. I went on YouTube and I was like, because I thought about it. I said, I got to see him. Dude, when he picked up Devontae Freeman and walked him about 5-6 yards, picked him up off his feet, and his feet was kicking, and he had him like this, picked him up off the ground. That's what we're going to see Sunday. That's what we're going to see Sunday.
Yeah, then they got the other end too, man. They got another.
They got a couple of guys. They got a good defensive line. It ain't just Donald. They got a good defensive line, man. It's going to be tough sledding Sunday. It is. It just is, man.
And then they lost 3 games in a row. They playing at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jalen
Matthew Stafford gonna kill us. He say they don't like James, but he's our most efficient and consistent player. Men shouldn't be this emotional. Oh my God, yeah, it's like they got a personal axe to grind with this kid, man. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's another thing that Myre gotta change, man. Just because you coach the guy at Ohio State don't mean that's gonna be instant, success on the NFL level. He's got to, hey man, you got to put the best on the field. You can't go by loyalty, just because you drafted a guy tight end because you knew the parents and he played at Ohio State don't make that he's a great player, okay?
Yeah, Luke Farrell has given us nothing.
And Dan Arnold was on the IR, so they don't have him. So, he might be gone for the season.
Yeah, and so you without him.
Then I don't know how much Miles Jack may play. He didn't practice much this week. So they banged up, man. They're banged up at the wrong time.
So you telling me Chris Manhurts is gonna play?
I'm telling you, James O'Shaughnessy, if he don't get hurt, he's probably gonna draw most of the snaps. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. But Manhurts, just don't get penalties. Just block and don't get penalties.
They might need Manhurts, man. With that defensive front, you gotta have somebody out there. They probably play double tight end, so they have somebody to chip somebody.
Something.
This is gonna be an ugly game, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. They just run the clock, don't get hurt, and if if they down, it's a 3-touch. If it's a 3-score game after the end of the first quarter, second quarter, I put in Beathard. I would take Trevor out.
Yeah,
not worth it.
And I would say, and as we at 1:39, so we're gonna wrap it up. But I would say the rest of this season, figuring out who your players are going to be for the future, and let Trevor basically take the handcuffs off of him. Say, hey, go out and make mistakes, man. Go out and fling it, throw it. I want the kid throw it until the cows come home, because he needs the experience. He needs to learn. This season, this is about his development. going forward. If you want to be a championship team in the future, you have to develop around Trevor and develop him.
Well, they ought to do that Sunday. Just put LaVisca in the backfield, run
Yeah.
flea flicker, run trick plays, put a tackle as a lead blocker. Put Jawan Taylor as a lead blocker for James Robinson. Run some power eye plays, double tight ends, run some reverses, throw the ball downfield. Flea flicker, whatever it is, just be wide open.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Got nothing. Got nothing to lose, man. Got nothing to lose.
But Bevel's too conservative, though.
Yeah, he is. Bevel's too conservative. So hopefully we'll see a different Jaguars team next year. They can get another draft in, get another free agent class in. We get this offensive staff out of here. I mean, I wish that Keenan McCardell was still here.
Yeah,
Keenan McCardell was a great wide receiver coach, man. One of the greatest route runners in NFL history when he played. And this man knew how to coach the wide receiver position. And hopefully we can get another guy who can coach as well. But that running back coach, wide receiver coach, quarterback Schottenheimer, Bevel, clean it all out. Clean the whole offensive staff out. And if you got to bring your Dan Mullen in and bring some other college guys and maybe some other guys in the league that but bring in guys that mirror Urban Meyer. That's what you need to do. Bring in guys who, when you put your plan together, they're on the same page as you. Not some guy coming in talking about, oh, no, I want to run pro style and I don't want to get Trevor hurt. No.
Yeah.
No. This was a bad marriage from the beginning. And I'm pretty sure he figured that out very early. Urban Meyer did. And he's like, there's nothing I can do about it now. But at the end of the season, he can rectify the situation.
Yeah, including the offensive coordinator hiring of Sanjay, the receivers coach.
Should have kept McCardell, man.
Which I think might have been the worst hire that they've made on the staff, in my opinion. They haven't got better. They hadn't done anything. And don't blame it all on, DJ Chalk got hurt, had a lot to do with it. Nope, man. They're not developing at all. They got guys on the practice squad that can't get in the games because somebody don't think they should be on the field. So why are they out there?
Yeah. And the fact that you couldn't get anything out of Tyron Johnson, you couldn't get anything out of that kid. Nothing. Yeah. I don't believe that. That's on coaching. The fact that they couldn't get nothing out of that speedster, nothing at all. Dude, I would have had him run 10 flies in a game. Yeah, like they couldn't integrate him, man, couldn't get anything out of him. And that's a testament to the coaching staff.
Yeah, testament that they may be the problem. Because if his speed and you can't, like vanilla something where you getting him the ball in his hand somehow and let him use his athletic ability to get yards after the catch, and you can't come up with a concept to integrate him at all and then release him after what he was on the team for like 2-3 months. That's an indictment on the coaching staff, man. It ain't so much his indictment on the receiver. It's an indictment on the staff for not having the forethought. I mean, just not having a way to condense whatever the problem is, condense it down, and design. Even if you just give him 3 plays, that a sure bet that we can get the ball in his hand and take over from there, and they couldn't do that. If you can't do that, then what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, you can't get a guy with. You can never question that he has athletic ability. He has speed.
4.3 speed.
Yeah. And you got a guy with 4.3 speed when if you look at what the total speed of the receivers without Agnew is probably like 4.6.
Yeah. Not very fast guys.
And you can't take advantage of the one speedster that you have and integrate something or condense something down to hey, we want you to know these 3 plays. That's all we want you to know. How to get open on these 3 plays. We simplified it for you. We want you to work on these plays at practice. We want you to, whatever you do, we want you to perfect these 3 plays. And they didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're gonna wrap it up there. See, Ness say I was never completely sold on Myre, and he has done nothing to change that yet for sure. Yeah, he still has a lot to prove, man. But this is the beginning. I think that this year he learned a lot. I think that so far he's learned a lot, and going forward, he's going to paint the Jaguars in his image because he delegated power. He let things go, and going forward, it won't happen. I don't think he'll ever get caught in a situation like this ever again, as long as he's here.
Yeah, the truth, the proof of the pudding will come in next year.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're gonna see, man. But hey, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow Mr. Reid, Jacksonville.com, Florida Times-Union. He covers the Jaguars. Hey, check him out. Was it 34 years? 34 years experience in doing this, man. He's been doing it for a long time, man.
Feel old, man.
Hey, man, that's experience, man. I hope to be there one day, man. I'm a baby in this thing, man. I hope to be there one day, man. So, hey, I appreciate you for joining me. And we had a lot of new watchers today, man. So I appreciate everybody who watched me. Hey, like, share, subscribe, man. I got more content coming, man. This channel is just starting up. I appreciate y'all for following me, man. I appreciate it so much. Appreciate that, Ness. But until next time, man. Hey, well, when will I be back? Let me see. When will I be back? I may be back sometime later this week. If not, it'll be early next week, most likely Monday. But me and Miss Reid will be back either Thursday or Friday next week. And hopefully we get Mr. Philip Myers on and he can talk because he's the plugged in local man. So we're gonna talk some local sports. We're gonna talk high school, we're gonna talk middle school, Power One, we're gonna talk it all next week, man. If we get Philip Myers on the show, man. But appreciate y'all. Until next time, man. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out, y'all.